Welcome guys to the next lecture of HTML basic coding. In today's lecture we will talk about three main things in HTML. Three of them are really important and in order to build a basic for further coding we have to discuss these three things today. The first which we will discuss is iframes. That what are basically iframes in HTML. Iframes are really important. We will get to know its concept theoretically and practically as well. After it, we will get to know that in head element what tags we can embed. So the first would be about JavaScript, that how we can use JavaScript inside the head tag. Remember in the first video of this series we have promised that we will discuss tags which goes inside the head element. So the first one is JavaScript, and the next important one, which is basically not shown in the web page, but it's really important regarding search wise, and it's a requirement for the browser, which is meta tag. Let's first talk about iframes. Iframes are basically used in order to embed the outer HTML or outer document in your main document. If you want to embed the outer document or HTML in your main page, this may be used in the cases, for example, if you want to have your some code or some area which you have created in HTML and you want to embed it in your iframe, then in that case iframes are used. So it's the outer HTML which has been displayed on your main HTML. For this purpose iframe has been used. Let's jump to the practical code. For example, I'm creating iframe. So for it I have to use iframe tag, open and then close it. So this is my iframe, and for iframe we use source property. Like iframe must be a source from somewhere. I'm giving it a name, outer data dot html. What does it mean? That I have to get this data from some other document inside my this main document, and it will have some width. For example, I want to give width to my iframe, for instance 200 pixels, and height also 200 pixels. I will actually bring this data from some other document, and for this reason I will have to create a new page. I am creating a new page and embedding some data in it. For example, I am using h2 tag. Let me give it some data. For example, this is the text which is in outer document and which would be included in your main HTML page. So let me give it a name by the outer data, for instance, and let me save it. This data which is in the outer data.html will be bring to this main web page. For example, if I launch it in my web Chrome, so as you can see that the outer iframe has been embedded in my main web page. You should remember that by default the iframe is having border. If you want to remove it, you can remove it. If you want to format it, you can also do it. But in order to make it readable, give it some title as well. My iframe. If I want to remove the border from my iframe, what will I do? I will use iframe in my style tags, open braces and then closing braces, and I will write border is equal to none. So this will basically remove the border from my iframe. So as you can see that the border has been removed. Or else if I want to give it some border but formatted one, for example 2 pixel dotted red, then in that case it will got a dotted border. So the purpose of iframes is really clear. It is basically used in order to embed the outer HTML to your main web page. In the last, when we will create a full-fledged project, you will get to know the purpose of iframes, and this is basically really important and not useless. So we will have to use it in our final project. The next important topic which we will discuss is how we can use JavaScript in our head tag. For this reason, how JavaScript work in the HTML, let us for example create a button. So I will explain it to you, don't worry. For example, I am creating a button and I am giving it a type button. You might be aware of this, that how to create buttons. It is used in different platforms. For example, I am closing it and I am giving it some name. I am saying this is a button. So this is basically our button. I have created this button for a specific purpose. When someone click on this button, I want to do something. On click. When someone click on it, I want something to happen. And what is this? I will explain it to you, but let me create one paragraph. So this is basically a paragraph and I am giving it some text. This is paragraph for JavaScript, which would be replaced by JavaScript function. I will explain it to you. For example, I am giving it some ID. For instance, the ID of my paragraph is para. What we have done, we have basically created one button by saying that the button type is equal to button, and on the click I want to do something, but this I will tell you later. And the name of the button is this is a button. After it, we have created a paragraph, a simple paragraph, and we have given it some ID because we want to work on it or use it somewhere. After it, let me tell you that how we will use JavaScript in our head tag. So for this reason, let me create one function. You might be aware of function usage, that how we can use function. If you are not, then let me explain it to you. When we want to create some function, the basic purpose of a function is that we want to do a thing repeatedly by using function. If you do not use function, then you have to manually do a specific thing again and again. So function is basically used in order to do a specific task repeatedly. So how to create function? We use a keyword function and give it some name. For example, I am giving it a name somefunction. You can give every name you want. So function and its name is somefunction, and then open parenthesis and closing parenthesis. So this has basically created a function for us, and we will do some work inside it. So for this purpose we have used open brace and then closing brace. We have basically created a function. Now I want to use JavaScript inside it. How? Document dot get element by ID. Which ID? The para ID. As you can see that the ID of a paragraph is para, so I have used it here, and embed inside it HTML this text. Replaced text, and I want to call this function. When someone clicks on this button. So I want to call this function. What does it mean? For example, I have this button which have the type button, and when I click on it, which have this text. The text on the button is this is a button, and when I click on it, so I want to call this function. So when this function gets called, you may also be aware of calling function. When we want to call the function, we use its name and then open and closing parentheses. So the function will be called. What does it mean that it's been called? It will be actually utilized, and inside that function what you have written will be executed. So when I click on this button, this function will be called. The function I have created in the script and the head tag. So the function name is somefunction, so this function will be called. And when it get called, so in the document it will get the element. In my HTML document, it will get or grab the element which have the ID by the ID para. So the name of the ID was para, so you will have to enclose it in double quotes, and when it gets that ID, it will replace its inner HTML, like dot inner HTML. It will actually replace it, the inner HTML text, with this text. So this text will basically be replaced, which is being written in the paragraph. So what is the purpose of this? There are mainly two purposes of using this function and getting replaced it through calling it from a button. First, I want to tell you that how you can use JavaScript in your head tag. The next concept you have get is using the functions and how to replace the text through JavaScript. How we can replace our different elements. This element may be a paragraph, this may be a picture. We can replace anything. And thirdly, we have also get to know the concept of buttons and how to call functions. This was the basic of JavaScript. In the JavaScript course, we will separately discuss each and everything. So for now, you have just to understand this, that how we can replace the inner text by having our JavaScript function and using the get element by ID method. Now if we launch this in our Chrome, so let us see the effect. So as you can see that our button has been created. This is our button, and this is the text we have created to paragraph. When I click on it, the text has been replaced by calling the function and replacing the text. So this was about embedding JavaScript in HTML. Lastly, we will discuss meta tags. That what are basically meta tags? Meta tags are basically used in order to provide some facility to our browser and search engines. Meta tags are basically not shown in our web page. It's invisible, but for the purpose of search engine and browser facility, it is really important. We have basically four meta tags and we will discuss them today. First is meta character set is equal to UTF-8. What does it mean? It means that the character set that we are using for this document is UTF-8. It is basically the character set that we have used. The next one is meta name is equal to description, and the content is equal to, for example, the description I want to give is this is Tech Geek channel. When you create any website, you will have to give description for your website. It works like a YouTube channel. When you create your YouTube channel and upload your video, in that case you give some description to your video and keywords as well. Same is the case for website. When you give some description to your web page, for example, I'm saying that the meta name is description. It means that I'm using description meta. My purpose of this meta is basically to give description to my document, and the content, that what is the description, is written in the double quotes. So it means that I have given description to my meta tag, and this is really important because it's useful for the search engine. When it displayed your web page or a website, it's really important that the website or search engine get to know that what is the description of your website. The third one is keyword. Meta name is equal to keyword, and in that case we will give some keywords. For example, Tech Geek, comma, HTML coding, HTML basics, HTML advanced. Now what does it means? That my meta name is basically keyword. This time I am using keyword, and the content, my tags. For example, I have used Tech Geek tag. The next one is HTML coding. The third one is HTML basics, and the last one is HTML advanced. So these are my tags. And why tags are important? Because for search engine to find your website, it basically relies on your tags. Your tags are really important. For example, if someone type in YouTube or Google, I want to know about HTML coding or HTML basics, or for example HTML advanced course, when a user type those keywords, it will get to your website or some other people websites as well. Although it depends on ranking as well, but ranking of website depend on those keywords. Lastly, we will discuss meta name is equal to viewport, and the content is equal to width is equal to device width, and initial scale is equal to 1.0. Now what does it means? I am saying that the meta tag I want to use is basically viewport. What is viewport? For example, I have created a website, but it will only look good on my PC but not on my mobile or iPads or tablet. So for this reason, I am just saying that what must be its viewport, like how it will look on different devices. For this reason, when I say that the content should be width is equal to device width, so it means that my website should become fit on every device. Either it is a mobile phone, a tablet, a PC, every kind of device, so it will become fit on every device, and it will be mobile friendly as well. And the initial scale means that the initial zoom level of your website would be 1.0. You can change it also, but let us remain it the initial zoom level to be 1.0. So this means that the viewport will be set for every device. This is basically a bootstrap concept, but we have initially used it in HTML and get to know its basic concept. In the bootstrap course, we will discuss in detail that what is viewport and width, device width. What will happen that when I use it in my website will become fit on every device. So this was about description, keywords, viewport, how to use JavaScript, head tag, and iframes. Our next lecture will be about creating HTML layout. So stay tuned, and we'll discuss a full-fledged layout and create in front of you in the next lecture. Thanks. Bye. Subscribe to our channel Tech Geek for more videos. Thanks.